what would be my next steps other than waiting for the value of Bitcoin to go up?
It really depends on how you view crypto. I view it as this investment and I view it as this store of value in most applications of it. And so really my only objective is to do one of two things. Either sit there and hold it, what most people in the crypto people will say they're going to hodl, right? Which is an acronym that stands for hold on for dear life. It actually came out of a complete typo from back in the day when all this was kind of being developed. And so I'm going to hold it traditionally until the market cycle tells me to sell it, right? When it's low, you want to buy it. When it's high, you want to sell it. It's pretty common sense with any other investment, right? The beautiful part about crypto is it has a little bit more of a market cycle that you can count on, at least at this part in the market cycle, right? At this part in the history of crypto. As crypto becomes substantially more expensive, like more than 10x, more than 100x, like way, way, way in the future, the rules are going to shift because now all of a sudden there's a lot more, there's a lot less volatility because there's a lot more volume in the market. And then it's going to start behaving more like a traditional market in itself, right? And so outside of just holding it, you can kind of do a couple of things. And I'm not suggesting by any means that you do any of these, but at least it starts to give you a couple ideas. The first thing you can do is, like I said, you could get a debit card that is attached to your actual account, right? Your Bitcoin account, and you could spend it, right? So I always tell people you can spend it, you can lend it, you could trade it. So spend it meaning that instead of paying for something, buying a coffee, with your debit card, you're going to buy a coffee with your Bitcoin card. That's one thing you could do. You got to think about the ramifications of that. If Bitcoin's really low, do I want to spend it now, or do I want to wait till it's really expensive so that I'm spending less of the Bitcoin, right? So there's kind of one thing there, but most people aren't going to think in terms of spending it. Most people are going to think in terms of, I want to use this as an investment. So let's put it in there. Let's let it ride up and then let's sell it. Once we sell that Bitcoin, we can obviously turn it back into our currency of our choice. And then I can put it into my bank account, right? Now I got cash if I wanted cash, right? And you can pay your bills that way if you wanted to. Lend it is another option. This is really what the DeFi or the decentralized finance space is created to solve. This is the banking industry, which is very centralized. This is a decentralized way to look at the banking industry, right? And crypto is really allowing for this kind of thing. This is what Nexo, Celsius, BlockFi, those type of platforms we've discussed, this is what they are. They're banks and they're lending platforms. And essentially, we think of it as, I'm going to put my money in savings, right? But really all I'm doing is I'm lending it to the bank, and the bank's going to do what the bank does, which is lend out more of the asset, right? Whether it's money or in this case, it's crypto. And for that, it's going to pay me interest. So that's one thing you could do. You could also do peer-to-peer lending, right? I could simply say, hey, Arlene, you told me you need to borrow $1,000. I tell you what, I'll give you $1,000 and you give me, $2,000 worth of crypto, right? That is the collateral that protects me. If you don't pay me back, I get to keep your Bitcoin, right? So that's one thing you could do. You could lend it out and obviously get cash in return. And then you could take that cash and do whatever you want. This is really the beautiful part about crypto. Really the second largest Bitcoin holder in the United States right now. They actually happen to be a tech company, but he's got over 105,000 Bitcoin. That's a lot, first of all. But second of all, what's interesting about it is his objective is never to sell it. He's never going to sell it. He's only going to borrow against it. So you've been put all this money into Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes up in value. He could sell it and take cash. Instead, what he's going to do is he's going to go to a bank and say, hey, I'll give you 5 Bitcoin. Let's just say it's worth $50,000. So that's $250,000 worth of Bitcoin. You give me $100,000 in cash. I'll pay 5% interest or 8% interest or whatever it is. And then when I return your cash and your interest, I want you to give me my Bitcoin back. The beautiful part being that you're going to lend crypto out and then it's going to continue to go up in value, right? Or down in value, right? It could be a part of the market cycle that's going down, but it's really a different approach to be able to lend it rather than just sell it to get the money you need, right? This is the beautiful thing specifically about Bitcoin and some others as well, some other cryptos that are a store of value. If it is a store of value, I don't ever need to sell it. I could always borrow against it if I needed the money. If I really need the money, most people think in their heads, I'll just sell this so I have cash and use that cash. Well, but now you're out of the asset. If you borrow against it, if you believe it's going to go up in value at a higher rate than whatever interest rate you're borrowing money at, 6%, 8% a year, it's probably going to be better to do it that way, right? So you use it as an asset. And then lastly, you could trade it, right? If you wanted to accumulate more cryptocurrency, you could trade it on a regular basis. I say, think of day traders, right? Some people trade daily. Some people are what are called swing traders, meaning that they'll get into some trades and just kind of ride it for a couple of weeks, maybe even months, and kind of just ride the wave, right? So it really just depends, because with trading, it comes with a whole nother level of risk, right? And specifically with crypto, I don't traditionally encourage people to trade crypto, especially because, again, the fundamentals say, hey, there's a value here. It's too valuable to risk trading, even if I might potentially lose a couple of percent and have the upside of 5% more or 10% more. Crypto, in my opinion, is not a preferred thing to trade. If you want to trade, there's a lot of things you could be trading. And I think we've got a little information on trading here on the channel. So if that's something you want to do, that's kind of going to get you started on the journey. If you want to learn more, obviously put it in the comments. Tell me a little bit more about what your objective is, what you're trying to accomplish, and I'll kind of try to point you in the right direction, right? So you can spend it, you can lend it, or you can trade it. These are really some things that are the most common, but it's specifically when you understand the cycle, this 4-year cycle around Bitcoin specifically, you really just want to wait. I mean, I started really buying a lot of Bitcoin in 2019 when the prices were at the bottom, because we saw that the prices were at the bottom and that we were about to start going up. And for those of you interested in how did you know that it was going to start going up, that's a whole nother video. In fact, type in the comments that you want to see that video and I'll make it even sooner. But really what we're going to do is we're going to say, if it's at the bottom now, we're expecting it to go up exponentially. All I need to do is wait. I'm not going to outperform this Bitcoin market unless I'm day trading it. And so more likely, I'm just going to stick it into a Nexo, a BlockFi, a lending platform that can give me 5, 6, 8, 10% more annually every single year, so that when I get to, let's say, the end of 2021, the end of 2022, whatever it is, and the prices are seemingly extremely high, I have 8% more. Or if I've been doing it for 2 years, I have 16% more Bitcoin to sell that I got for free for doing nothing, right?